So as I reflect on the last year, I'm humbled by the collective impact we've made, transforming lives and spreading hope to those facing incredibly challenging times. Your commitment to our work catalyzes our every endeavor, manifests our faith in action, and results in fulfilling our mission of building a just and compassionate society. I don't know if there's ever been a time in our past history where our faith has been more challenged as an organization than this past year. Whether it's working to rebuild the fragile image of the nursing home industry, creating a culture that's dynamic, engaging, and spiritually rich enough to attract new workers, trying to minimize the usage of expensive outside staffing agencies, the continued erosion of adequate reimbursement for senior care services at all levels, or messaging confusion related to funding changes for social services programs. It's been a trying year. But our history of perseverance and adaptability has taught us how to intentionally use these difficult experiences to learn and drive change that continues to protect human dignity and move lives forward. Ironically, though, despite all of this, I'm grateful for my sometimes wavering faith, because it continues to bring me back to the altar, to submit to another's will beyond my own. God's. It's sometimes hard to trust in God's plans for our works when things feel like they're falling apart. But that just reminds me that faith alone is not enough. I and we need God's omnipresent grace to propel us forward. A short prayer I like to get me through difficult times and to center is, God, lead me back to you, to your altar. I want you to be the God of my past, present, and future. Faith, undergirded by our gospel values, is the foundational element that drives all of our work at Catholic Charities. But faith with action is far more compelling and formidable than faith on its own. In James chapter 2:18, he relates faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. But some will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by what I do. As the social action arm of the church, our work at Catholic Charities is animated by James's words. Faith in action is the theme of this year's meeting, and as you'll notice in our annual report, you can see it come alive in the transformational stories highlighted in it. They reflect second chances and Christ among us through the many faces he represents. Stories that are filled with courage and resilience, reminding us of the profound difference we can make when we come together as a community with a shared purpose. You'll read about Sheldon, a veteran who overcame homelessness and addiction to find a renewed sense of purpose. Or Ruth from our place, who learned critical parenting and financial literacy skills to build a safe and more secure future for her child. Or Carol, whose story is like those of many seniors who, because of your help, are able to live independently at home without feeling isolated. At Catholic Charities, we're blessed and privileged to accompany the often invisible poor among us with radical hospitality. This makes me think of Pope Francis's words about the parable of the Good Samaritan, which shows us how a community can be rebuilt by men and women who identify with the vulnerability of others, who reject the creation of a society of exclusion and act instead as neighbors. A culture of encounter involves not just seeing, but looking, not just hearing, but listening, not just passing people by, but stopping with them, allowing yourself to be moved with compassion. Dr. Martin Schreiber from the Providence Mission Leadership Institute goes on to state eloquently, as we continue to focus on flexibility, empowerment, renewal, and curiosity, the capacity for hope still remains as the sometimes flickering light that illuminates the path ahead. We are all light bearers for those we encounter in our work, This year, as we continue to face another round of rising COVID cases and the prospect of new variants lurking around the corner, we've certainly kept busy as an organization. So before moving on to healthcare, let me indulge you with some of the accomplishments of our social services programs. Over the past year, our community services staff assisted well over 3,100 individuals and families with some type of case management or financial support. Immigration legal services saw a 38% increase in individuals served. Karen Rides in Greater Manchester and Nashua helped vulnerable seniors with transportation to critical medical appointments with over 23,000 volunteer miles driven. Monadnock at Home Senior Support Services in the western part of the state saw an 83% increase in service requests. Liberty House right here in Manchester, our Transitional Living Veterans Program, led 74% of the unemployed vets who resided there into new, stable jobs with a livable wage. They also served 226 community vets with clothing, food, and other essential needs. New Generation provided 10,400 collective nights of shelter and case management for homeless moms and children in the Seacoast, a 29% increase from last year. Of the mental health counseling clients who received over 2,300 hours of counseling, 81% noted improvements in their overall quality of life. And finally, food distribution to 425 programs and pantries around the state from the New Hampshire Food Bank totaled 16.2 million pounds of food last year. As you can imagine, we have our work cut out for us as demand for our services continues to grow. Aside from this, we continue to evolve quasi-post-pandemic with traditional thinking about justice and the common good. And thinking about our nursing facilities, we aim to support the common good through our commitment to providing exceptional care. We have many of our providers on this side of the room. We're proud that 5 of our 7 nursing facilities around the state are 5-star rated, and that all 7 of our nursing facilities in our Catholic Charities portfolio won the coveted Pinnacle Quality Insights National Award for Superior Customer Satisfaction, the only ones in New Hampshire to receive such an award. Also, in regards to the common good, to perpetuate our goal of consistently administering radical hospitality to those we serve, we hired a manager of culture and employee and leadership development this year. Another reflection of our commitment to justice and the common good, and even radical solidarity, perhaps, has been our advocacy this year with the Medicaid Workforce Group, Medicaid expansion, staffing agency registration, the CMS staffing mandate, the sanctuary bill, the food bank's work to expand SNAP benefits, etc. Similar to our perspective, Katie Taylor from World Vision relates, we want our approach to advocacy to be motivated by our faith and to push us to take bold action. And whether we're speaking out about the dignity of life at all stages, Medicaid expansion, or a more effective pathway toward legal immigration, faith is advocacy's foundation, motivation, and our source of strength when things get tough. James 2:14-16 says, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them?" Our faith can motivate us to love more deeply and act more courageously than we could ever do on our own. And that faith-motivated love leads to some of the most beautiful earthly expressions of our Christianity. Having faith is 50% of the solution. Action is the other half. Within the next year, with thoughtfulness, circumspection, and focused intention, we have many exciting things in store. We'll look to grow and more formidably develop our organization to break ground after closing funding gaps on new, affordable, and middle market apartments for the workforce and for seniors with supportive social services from Catholic Charities. We'll continue to pull out all the stops in our staffing retention and recruitment efforts, as well as increasing our advocacy efforts as we think about protecting life at all stages related to the various social injustices like assisted suicide, of which 2 bills will be coming up in our state's legislature next year, and nursing home reform and advocacy, which will include reasonable staffing mandates and feature critical funding. We'll look to better leverage emerging technologies, including potential resources like remote patient monitoring, to better serve our residents in their preferred settings. Or explore how generative AI can better help us to optimize outcomes, efficiencies, and resource allocation. That's a glimpse into our future. Additional future forward thinking compels us to acknowledge that demographically, in the words of consultant Marian Jennings, we're moving rapidly from an aging state to an aged state. And in that, we need to embrace the reality of our aging population, a group who have a lot of years left to give and may be able to contribute back to society. Also, in that our country's workforce challenges, which you've heard about so much in the last few years, will not be going away. Will not be going away. That in just 7 short years, there will be more people over 65 than under 18 living in this country. So we need a much more aggressive and proactive solution to augment the healthcare continuum moving into the future. Also, in thinking about the future of healthcare staffing, I think about immigration as a potential solution. Immigration complemented by a thoughtful, humanitarian, legal pathway for foreigners to come to our country can help us to move out of this healthcare crisis in which we're currently mired. Without it, we're going to continue to face a perilous future. Lastly, in addition to thanking our donors, incredible board, committee members, back office associates, and all of our committed, capable, and compassionate staff, I thank you for embodying the spirit of empathy and for walking hand in hand with us on this transformative journey to uplift lives, create opportunities, and to inspire hope. Together, we can continue to build a future where love and compassion prevail, and where the most vulnerable among us find solace, support, and pathways toward wholeness. Now, to close, I'd like to share a short prayer with you that I recently read. God of action and of love, your grace surrounds us, awaiting the smallest crevice by which to enter and break down the walls that divide us. You desire action from us, faith in action. Love is action, not empty words or promises. Lord, may our lives be ones of action, where everything we have to give, we give with a commitment to you, with an aim toward an ever-deepening communion between you and all of creation. Amen.